Welcome back. You have been on an incredible journey through the world of cloud computing, and you've made it to the end. So now, it's time to make sure all that amazing knowledge really sinks in. In this explainer, we're going to do a quick review of all the key concepts you've just mastered. Let's get to it.
First things first, a huge congratulations to you. Seriously, you have successfully finished the entire 5-part tutorial, Considerations in Determining Whether a Workload Should Be Located in a Private or Public Cloud Environment by Virtualization Options LLC. And that is no small thing. Our goal here is to lock in all that hard-earned knowledge by recapping the frameworks and concepts you now know so well.
So here's how we're going to retrace your steps. We'll kick things off with a refresher on cloud foundations. Then we'll jump into the really critical stuff: security and compliance, performance and cost, and of course, picking the right workload. And we'll wrap it all up by going over that final decision-making framework one last time. Let's dive right in.
Okay, let's hit rewind and go all the way back to where this journey started. Chapter 1. This is where we laid all the groundwork with those fundamental building blocks, the core cloud deployment models.
You'll definitely remember the public cloud model. Think of the big guys like AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, offering up their massive computer power over the internet. The key word here, the magic word, is multi-tenant. You're sharing the hardware with others, and that's what gives you that incredible scale and that super flexible pay-as-you-go model.
And then on the complete flip side of that, you've got the private cloud. This is the exact opposite: single tenant. All of the infrastructure, the whole shebang, is dedicated to just one organization. And the huge win here? Total absolute control and the power to customize everything for your specific needs.
So the biggest takeaway from that first chapter was really understanding the architectural DNA of each model. Public cloud is shared, but it's all separated by software. Private cloud is all yours, top to bottom. And believe it or not, that one single difference is the source of almost every single trade-off we're about to talk about. Okay, now let's build on that foundation and get into Chapter 2, where we got into the really serious business of security and compliance. And as you know, this is priority number 1 for pretty much any organization out there.
What's so interesting here is that you're sharing resources, but you're also sharing in the benefit of these providers' gigantic, multi-billion-dollar security investments. We're talking 24/7 security centers, automatic threat detection, stuff that most companies could only dream of affording on their own.
But, and this is a big but, it's all about that shared responsibility model. The provider takes care of securing the cloud itself, but you are responsible for securing whatever you put in the cloud. This is so important because the #1 cause of cloud data breaches isn't the provider getting hacked, it's a customer making a simple mistake.
And this number just puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? For a company in a super regulated industry like JPMorgan Chase, having that absolute control from a private cloud isn't just nice, it's essential. And they back that up by investing a staggering $12 billion a year in their technology to keep it that way.
And that flows perfectly into Chapter 3, which was all about the practical stuff. I mean, once you've got your security figured out, the conversation always turns to performance and, you guessed it, cost.
It's really the classic business question, isn't it? After you know your data is safe, you have to ask, how fast is this thing going to run and what's it going to cost me? This chapter was all about giving you the tools to answer those exact questions.
When you think about public cloud scale, this is the number that should pop into your head. Over 230 million subscribers. A company like Netflix just couldn't exist without the public cloud's power to instantly scale up for a huge movie premiere on a Friday night and then scale right back down on Monday to save money. That is elasticity in action.
But remember, it's not always a black and white choice. The IBM case study was a fantastic example of how powerful a hybrid approach can be. By mixing the best of both worlds, keeping their essential stuff private, and using public for specialized AI work, they slashed their infrastructure costs by an unbelievable 70%. That's a huge win.
And to figure all this out, you learned this simple but really powerful 3-step framework for total cost of ownership. First, assess what you're spending now. Second, model out all the costs of a move, both the obvious and the hidden ones. And third, look beyond just the price tag to the actual value you're getting.
And this leads us to maybe the most important light bulb moment from the whole tutorial, which came in Chapter 4. The real question isn't, which cloud is better? The right question is, which cloud is better for this specific application? It's all about the workload.
So you learned that workloads that have unpredictable or, bursty demand are a perfect fit for the public cloud.
Think about things like dev and test environments that you can spin up and tear down in minutes, or a website that might suddenly get a huge flood of traffic.
On the other hand, workloads that are predictable, super sensitive, or have really unique requirements are usually a much better fit for the private cloud. This is where you put your core financial systems or those older legacy apps that need a very specific, controlled home to run properly.
And for most businesses today, the answer isn't picking one or the other, it's using both. A hybrid strategy isn't a compromise. It's the smartest solution. It lets you put every single workload in its perfect home, all while managing it as one unified system.
And that takes us to the grand finale. It's time to pull everything we've just reviewed together into one clear, actionable framework that you can use to make your decision.
Look, if you remember only one single thing from this entire tutorial, please let it be this. The choice is not public versus private. It is and always will be about which workload belongs where. That mindset shift is the key to a smart, successful cloud strategy.
And here it is, your tool to put that mindset into action. This is the final checklist, and it brings everything we've covered together. When you have a new workload, just run it down this list of 5 criteria, and I promise you, the right answer will pop right out.
And that's it. You did it. You've not only completed the entire tutorial, but you've walked away with the knowledge and the framework to make truly intelligent cloud decisions. So again, congratulations on a massive accomplishment.
The only thing left to do now is put what you've learned into practice. So I'll leave you with this final question. Your workload has a home. Based on everything you know now, where are you going to place it?